ولا يزال الذين كفروا في مرية منه حتى تأتيهم الساعة بغتة أو يأتيهم عذاب يوم عقيم.
The unbelievers will not cease to be in doubt about it until the hour suddenly comes upon them, or the chastisement of an ominous day overtakes them.
102. The epithet, barren, has been applied to the day in its metaphorical and not literal sense. A day is barren if all the plans, hopes and devices remain unproductive in it, or it does not bring forth its night. For instance, the days on which the people of Prophet Noah, the tribes of Ad and Thamud, the people of Lot and of Midian met with their destruction by scourge from Allah, were barren days in this sense, because those days did not bring forth any tomorrow for them, and no device of theirs could avert their doom.
الملك يومئذ لله يحكم بينهم فالذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات في جنات النعيم.
On that day, all sovereignty shall be Allah's, and He will judge among them. Then those who believed and acted righteously shall be in gardens of bliss.
والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا فأولئك لهم عذاب مهين.
A humiliating chastisement awaits those who disbelieved and denied our signs.
والذين هاجروا في سبيل الله ثم قتلوا أو ماتوا ليرزقنهم الله رزقا حسنا وإن الله لهو خير الرازقين.
As for those who migrated in the way of Allah, whereafter they were slain or died, Allah will certainly grant them a goodly provision. Indeed, Allah is the best of all those who provide.
لَيُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ مُدْخَلًا يَرْضَوْنَهُ وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَعَلِيمٌ حَلِيمٌ.
He will surely admit them to a resort which will please them. Most certainly, Allah is all-knowing, most forbearing.
103. As Allah is all-knowing, He knows well those who left their homes for His sake and what reward they deserve. He is clement, and forgives minor errors and weaknesses of the people. Therefore these things will not hinder Him from rewarding the believers for their services and sacrifices.
ذلك ومن عاقب بمثل ما عوقب به ثم بغي عليه لينصرنه الله إن الله لعفو غفور.
That indeed is so, as for him who retaliates in proportion to the excess committed against him, and is thereafter again subjected to transgression. Allah will surely aid him. Verily, Allah is all-pardoning, all-forgiving.
104. The preceding verses refer to those persecuted people who could not retaliate, and here the reference is to those victims of persecution who could fight back. From this verse, Imam Shafi'i has concluded that retaliation will be affected in the way as life was taken in the original act. If a person is killed by immersion in water, the killer also should be put to death by immersion in water, or if a person is burned to death, the killer also will be burned to death. The Hanafites dispute this. According to them, retaliation against a murderer will be incurred in one and the same established way no matter how life was taken by the culprit in the original act. 105. This verse, 60, may imply two things. Sad face. 1. Allah forgives that killing which is done in self-defense, though killing of people is not a good thing in itself. 2. As Allah, whose slaves the believers are, is forgiving and forbearing, they should also forgive and forbear as much as possible. Though they have the right of retaliation, they should not resort to carnage and massacre.
ذلك بأن الله يولج الليل في النهار ويولج النهار في الليل وأن الله سميع بصير.
So shall it be, because it is Allah who causes the night to emerge out of the day, and causes the day to emerge out of the night. And Allah is all-hearing, all-seeing.
106. That is, as stated in the preceding paragraph, because Allah is the ruler of the universe and has the power to give punishments and rewards to those who deserve them. 107. The fact that Allah causes night is a proof that He is the master, sovereign and ruler of the universe. But the deeper meaning of the verse is that Allah, who is able to bring forth the light of the day out of the darkness of the night, has the power to bring out the light of the truth out of the darkness of disbelief and ignorance, and the light of justice out of the darkness of tyranny. 108. He hears everything and sees everything and is not unaware of anything.
ذلك بأن الله هو الحق وأن ما يدعون من دونه هو الباطل وأن ما يدعون من دونه هو الباطل وأن الله هو العلي الكبير.
So shall it be, because Allah, He is the truth, and all whom they invoke instead of Him are false. Allah is most high, all great.
109. As Allah is in fact the sovereign of the universe, His worshippers will surely attain true success and the worshippers of false gods will meet with utter failure.
ألم تر أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فتصبح الأرض مخضرة إن الله لطيف خبير.
Do you not see that Allah sends down water from the sky, whereby the earth turns green? Verily, Allah is subtle, all aware.
110. This verse has a deeper meaning also, though apparently it merely declares that Allah alone has the power to send down rain which makes the land green. The deeper meaning is that the rainfall of the blessed revelation will, in the near future, turn the barren land of Arabia into a garden of knowledge, morality and bring forth a high and righteous civilization. 111. Latif implies that Allah fulfills His designs in such fine ways that it is difficult to understand them till they become real and apparent. As He is fully aware of everything, He knows how to conduct the affairs of His kingdom.
Verily, Allah is subtle, all aware. God is all-hearing and all-seeing. He is neither blind nor deaf to what happens in the world. He therefore visits with His scourge the unbelieving and the tyrannous. He rewards with His favors those who believe and do righteous deeds. He metes out justice to those who are wronged, and He helps with His succor the followers of the truth who fight against tyranny with all their might.
له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن الله لهو الغني الحميد.
To Him belongs all that is in the heavens and all that is in the earth. Surely, Allah, He alone is self-sufficient, praiseworthy.
112. He alone is all-sufficient and is not in need of anyone in any way. He is all praiseworthy because all praise belongs to Him alone whether anyone praises Him or not.
ألم تر أن الله سخر لكم ما في الأرض والفلك تجري في البحر بأمره ويمسك السماء أن تقع على الأرض إلا بإذنه إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِالنَّاسِ لَرَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ.
Have you not seen how Allah has subjected to you all that is in the earth, and the vessels that sail in the sea by His command? And it is He who holds back the sky, that it may not fall on earth, except by His leave? Surely, Allah is most gentle, ever compassionate to people.
113. Here, the heaven implies the whole of the universe above and below the earth, where everything is held in its own place and sphere.
وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَحْيَاكُمْ ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ ثُمَّ يُحْيِيكُمْ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَكَفُورٌ.
And it is He who has endowed with you life, and it is He who causes you to die, and it is He who will then resurrect you. Man is indeed extremely prone to denying the truth.
114. That is, though man sees every reality presented by the prophets, yet he denies it. 100.
Man is indeed extremely prone to denying the truth. This refers to deliberate denial of the truth expounded by the prophets.
لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جَعَلْنَا مَنسَكًا هُمْ نَاسِكُوهُ فَلَا يُنَازِعُنَّكَ فِي الْأَمْرِ وَادْعُ إِلَى رَبِّكَ إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى هُدًى مُسْتَقِيمٍ.
For every people we have prescribed a way of worship which they follow. So, O Muhammad, peace be upon him, let them not dispute with you concerning this, and call them to your Lord. You are certainly on the straight way.
15. That is, the community of every prophet. 116. Here the Arabic word mansik has been used in its most comprehensive sense, which also includes sacrifice, verse 34. It means service, worship, in short, the entire way of life. The same theme has been expressed in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Ayat 48, we prescribed a law and a way of life for each of you. 117. That is, now you have brought a way of life just as the former prophets brought ways of life for their people. Therefore the people have no right to dispute with you concerning the law you have brought. 118. This confirms the explanation given in En. 117, above.
O Muhammad, peace be upon him, let them not dispute with you concerning this. The earlier prophets prescribed a particular way, mansak, for their communities. In like manner, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, also prescribed a particular way for his community. No one is entitled to dispute this, because this is the only way that is suitable for the present age.
وَإِن جَادَلُوكَ فَقُلِ اللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ.
And if they dispute with you, say, Allah knows well what you do.
الله يحكم بينكم يوم القيامة فيما كنتم فيه تختلفون.
Allah will judge among you on the day of resurrection concerning matters about which you disagreed.
ألم تعلم أن الله يعلم ما في السماء والأرض إن ذلك في كتاب إن ذلك على الله يسير.
Are you not aware that Allah knows all that is in the heaven and the earth? Surely, it is all preserved in a book. Indeed, that is easy with Allah.
119. In order to understand the significance of this paragraph, we should keep in view verse 55-57, with which this is connected.
يعبدون من دون الله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وما ليس لهم به علم وما للظالمين من نصير. ويعبدون من دون الله ما لم ينزل ينزل به سلطانا وما ليس لهم به علم وما للظالمين من نصير.
Instead of Allah, they worship those concerning whom He has revealed no sanction, and concerning whom they have no true knowledge. None shall be able to help such evildoers.
120. That is, neither there is any mention of their deities in any revealed book, nor do they have any other source of knowledge about them, nor any authority to worship them. Therefore, it is sheer ignorance that they have associated their self-invented deities with Allah and worship them, make vows and offer sacrifices to them and supplicate them for their needs, etc. 121. This is to warn the foolish people that they are absolutely wrong in expecting that their deities would help them in this world and in the hereafter, because they have no power to help them. Thus, they will find no helper, for Allah alone could help them, and they have already displeased Him by their rebellious behavior.
وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ تَعْرِفُ فِي وُجُوهِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الْمُنكَرَ يَكَادُونَ يَسْطُونَ بِالَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِنَا قُلْ أَفَأُنَبِّئُكُم بِشَرٍّ مِّن ذَلِكُمْ النَّارُ وَعَدَهَا اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ.
When our signs are plainly recited to them, you will perceive utter repugnance on their faces, and it all but seems as if they will soon pounce upon those who recite our signs to them. Say, shall I tell you what is worse than that? The fire with which Allah has threatened those who disbelieve. That is truly an evil end.
122. That is, you will meet with a far worse state of anguish than that which you display against those who recite divine revelations to you.
يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ ضُرِبَ مَثَلٌ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَوِ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ وَإِن يَسْلُبْهُمُ الذُّبَابُ شَيْئًا لَّا يَسْتَنقِذُوهُ مِنْهُ ضَعُفَ الطَّالِبُ وَالْمَطْلُوبُ.
O people, a parable is set forth. Pay heed to it. Those who call upon aught other than Allah shall never be able to create even a fly, even if all of them were to come together to do that. And if the fly were to snatch away anything from them, they would not be able to recover that from it. Powerless is the supplicant, and powerless is he to whom he supplicates.
123. This parable has been cited to impress upon the idol worshippers that their deities are absolutely powerless, for even if they all collaborated to create an insignificant thing like a fly, they could not, nay, even if a fly snatched away anything from them, they could not prevent it. This shows how weak they themselves are and how powerless are the idols they supplicate.
ما قدر الله حق قدره إن الله لقوي عزيز.
They have not formed a true estimate of Allah. Indeed, Allah is all-powerful, almighty.
الله يصطفي من الملائكة رسلا ومن الناس إن الله سميع بصير.
Allah chooses messengers from among angels and from among human beings to convey His command. Allah is all-hearing, all-seeing.
124. In continuation of the refutation of shirk, Allah has taken two kinds of the most revered of deities to show their real status, as if to say, the angels and the prophets whom you have set up as deities are mere messengers of Allah. Allah has chosen them to convey His messages to human beings and thus does not make them God or partners in His Godhead.
يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم وإلى الله ترجع الأمور.
He knows all that is before them and that which is hidden from them, and it is to Allah that all affairs are returned.
125. The Quran employs this sentence to refute the creed of the Mushriks in regard to intercession, as if to say, you imagine that angels, prophets, saints and the like can intercede with Allah on your behalf and therefore you worship them. You are absolutely wrong. For none of your deities knows what is good for you and what is not. Allah alone hears everything, sees everything and knows everything. Therefore He has not given the right of intercession and recommendation to anyone except when He Himself is pleased to give such permission. 126. This is to impress upon them that every affair and every matter, big or small, is presented before Allah for a decision. Therefore you should not invoke anyone else other than Allah, for all others are utterly helpless and powerless and cannot even fulfill their own desires and needs.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اركعوا واسجدوا واعبدوا ربكم وافعلوا الخير لعلكم تفلحون.
Believers, bow down and prostrate yourselves before your Lord, and serve your Lord, and do good, that you may prosper.
127. This is the right way of attaining the success, but even after adopting these ways of worship and performing good deeds one should not rest content or be proud that he would surely attain success because he is worshipping Allah and is doing good deeds. He should only expect that Allah will by His grace accept his services and bless him with the success. Imam Shafi'i, Ahmad bin Hanbal, Abdullah bin Mubarak and Ishaq bin Rahawayh hold the view that this verse of Surah Al-Hajj requires a prostration. But Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Hassan Basri, Said bin al-Musayyab, Said bin Jubair, Ibrahim Nakhai and Sufyan Thawri dispute this. The arguments of the two sides are briefly as follows. The former group of commentators base their opinion on the following sad face. 1. The verb in the verse is in the imperative mood. 2. The tradition of Uqba bin Amir which has been reported by Imam Ahmad, Abu Dawood, Tirmizi, Ibn Majah and Bahaki, says, I asked, O Messenger of Allah, does the merit of Surah Al-Hajj consist in the fact that it contains two verses requiring prostration? He replied, yes, the one who does not prostrate on these two verses, should not recite them. 3. The tradition of Abu Dawood and Ibn Majah in which Amr bin As says that he was told by the Prophet, peace be upon him, that there were two verses requiring prostration in Surah Al-Hajj. 4. Sayings of Umar, Ali, Uthman, Ibn Umar, Ibn Abbas, Abul Darda, Abu Musa Ashari and Amma bin Yazir to the effect that Surah Al-Hajj contains two prostrations. The latter group of commentators argue as follows. 1. The verse contains a command both for sajda, prostration, and for ruku, bowing in prayer, which implies the whole Islamic prayer according to the Quranic usage, and not prostration alone. 2. The tradition reported by Uqba bin Amir is unauthentic as it has weak links. 3. The tradition of Amr bin Az is also unreliable, because its reporters are not well known. 4. As for the sayings of the companions, Ibn Abbas has clearly explained that prostration in respect of the first verse, in Surah Al-Hajj, is obligatory, whereas in regard to the second, it is only suggestive. 120.
وجاهدوا في الله حق جهاده هو اجتباكم وما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج ملة أبيكم إبراهيم هو سماكم المسلمين من قبل وفي هذا ليكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم ليكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم وتكونوا شهداء على الناس فأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واعتصموا بالله هو مولاكم فنعم المولى ونعم النصير.
Strive in the cause of Allah in a manner worthy of that striving. He has chosen you for His task, and He has not laid upon you any hardship in religion. Keep to the faith of your father Abraham, peace be upon him. Allah named you Muslims earlier and even in this book, that the messenger may be a witness over you, and that you may be witnesses over all mankind. So, establish prayer and pay zakah, and hold fast to Allah. He is your protector. What an excellent protector! What an excellent helper!
128. The Arabic word jihad is very comprehensive. It includes every kind of effort, exertion, conflict and war. Jihad for the cause of Allah means that it should be performed for His service and for His approval against those who prevent others from following His way. The performance of jihad also requires that one should first of all fight against his own self in order to subdue it. For there can be no true jihad unless one fights against his evil self and subdues his desires and lusts to the obedience of Allah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, himself has emphasized the need for this jihad. Once when the warriors for the cause of Allah returned from jihad, he said, "You have returned from the lesser jihad to the greater jihad." They asked, "What is that greater jihad?" The Prophet, peace be upon him, replied, "It is the jihad against his own desires and lusts." Moreover, the battlefield for jihad is, in fact, the whole world, and Islam demands that one should exert his utmost against all the rebels of Allah and the wicked powers with all of his heart and mind and body and wealth. 129. The direct addressees of this were the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, for they were the first who had the honor to be chosen for this service. Others have been addressed only indirectly, being their followers. This thing has been mentioned in the Quran in other ways as well. For reference, see Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat 143, and Surah Al-Imran, Ayat 110. 130. Allah has not placed upon you in religion any hardship. That is, the creed you have been given is very simple and straightforward, and the laws and regulations you have to obey are practicable. You are free within its bounds to make as much progress as you can. This was to impress that the lives of the Muslims were free from all those useless and unnatural restrictions which had been imposed upon the former communities by their priests and lawgivers. The negative aspect of the same thing has been mentioned in Surah Al-Araf, Ayat 157. He enjoins them to follow virtue and forbids them from evil. He makes pure things lawful for them and impure things unlawful. He relieves them of their burdens and frees them from the shackles that bound them. 131. Though Islam may be called the religion of prophets Noah, Moses, Jesus, etc. Yet the Quran emphasizes over and over again that it is the religion of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon them all, therefore, you should follow it. This is for three reasons. 1. The first addressees of the Quran were the Arabs, who were more familiar with Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, than with any other prophet, and acknowledged him to be a holy personage and their leader. 2. Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, alone was the person whom the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims and the Mushriks of Arabia and of the adjoining countries unanimously acknowledged as a great prophet. 3. When the Quran invites all these communities to follow the way of Abraham, it in fact admonishes them that all their religions had been invented long after Prophet Abraham and, therefore, were not trustworthy because they contradicted many things taught by him. As for the Mushriks of Arabia, they also acknowledged that idol worship among them had been started by Amr bin Luhay, who was a leader of Bani Quza, and had brought an idol, called Hubal, from Moab in about 600 BC. So the religion to which Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, invited them was the same pure, unadulterated religion which was taught by Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. For further details, see ENs 134, 135 of Surah Al-Baqarah, and ENs 58, 79 of Surah Al-Imran, and ENs 119, 120 of Surah An-Nahl. 132. Here the word, you, has not been addressed exclusively to those believers who lived at the time of the revelation of this verse, or those who believed after its revelation. It includes all those human beings, who, from the beginning of human history, believed in Tawheed, the hereafter, prophethood and the divine books. They were not Jews, Christians, etc., but Muslims in the sense that they had surrendered themselves to Allah. Likewise the followers of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, are not Muhammadans but Muslims. 133. For explanation see E.N. 144 of Surah Al-Baqarah. 134. Hold fast to Allah, follow exclusively the guidance and the law of Allah, obey Him alone, fear Him and have all your hopes and expectations in Him, invoke Him alone for help, trust in Him and pray to Him for all your needs.